My name's Andrew Roberts. I'm a clinical haematologist at Royal Melbourne Hospital and Peter MacCallum Cancer Centre in Melbourne, Victoria. I'm also the Metcalf Chair of Leukaemia Research at the University of Melbourne and Head of Clinical Translation at the Walter and Eliza Hall Institute of Medical Research, which is a basic medical research. What I do all day is try to find better treatments for people with blood cancers. Clinical trials are great medicine. So for many patients, the best treatment you can get is on a clinical trial. That's not true for everyone. Sometimes clinical trials aren't the best treatment or the best care for an individual person, but often they are, particularly when our current treatments aren't doing nearly as well as either the person with the blood cancer or their treating doctor would like. Sadly, that's often the case after our first or second choices of treatment have stopped working. I think they're wonderful opportunities for people to think about a clinical trial. Generally speaking, we're talking about two similar things here. We're talking about some research that's looking to evaluate how effective a new treatment is in someone who's got a tough problem. We automatically think the trials are run by the companies that make the new drug that they're trying to get on the market, but that isn't always the case. Sometimes the trials are fully designed and run by doctors working together either in a collaborative trial group, such as the Australasian Leukaemia and Lymphoma group here in Australia and New Zealand, and sometimes through groups of doctors working in partnership with a hospital or hospitals. Both trials run by drug companies and trials run and led by clinicians are good medicine. They're high quality clinical trials. They're all ethically approved. They're all monitored. Patient safety is paramount. They're all suitable for publication. And depending on it, the situation a patient finds themselves in, they might be a really good option. Typically, trials that are run by clinicians either in a collaborative group or in what's called an investigator-initiated trial at a hospital or in the community are asking slightly different questions than are getting asked in a big drug company-sponsored trial. Drug company-sponsored trials are typically looking to work out a big place for their drug in the marketplace. They're looking to have a big positive impact for people with this type of leukemia or that type of lymphoma or maybe myeloma or maybe a relatively uncommon form of blood cancer. It's rare for a drug company trial to be really looking at rare cancers with a drug, or to be looking whether two drugs that are about the same are equal or better to each other. Collaborative trials are typically being done when haematologists are really interested to try to improve on what is the approved way to give a drug. They might ask some questions that can't be asked by an individual drug company. Investigator-initiated clinical trials are typically smaller, often earlier in the drug development process, so maybe phase 1 or phase 2. They're not often big randomised studies. And they're usually being done to try to ask some tough questions in a small group of patients who aren't having their needs met by the big drug company trials or by the collaborative group trials. So clinician-led clinical trials really have an important role in rounding out the portfolio of trials that might be available for someone with a blood cancer. I do want to emphasise that all of these are good trials, all of these are good medicine, and it's not that one's better than the other. It's just they're slightly different purposes. The important thing for a person with blood cancer is what's the right trial for them. Doesn't matter, is it a drug company one, is it a collaborative group trial, is it an investigator-initiated trial? What's the best one for me? Or is standard of care medicine the best treatment for me? How do you get onto a trial? It's a good question. First question really is, do I need to be thinking about a trial? I think it's always worth having that at the back of your mind, but your haematologist, the nurses involved in your care, some of the people who've had a similar experience to you are all in good position to let you know whether a trial might be something worth thinking about. The person who's best placed is your haematologist. They're across all the information that's available about you. They know the range of potential treatments, and often they'll know about most of the trials that are available. Sometimes they won't know about them all, and increasingly haematologists will talk amongst each others, use special applications, websites, etc. You can do your own research too. You can get on the web. There are clinical trial sites that register clinical trials. You can't find the right trial for you by doing that, though. You might find some ideas. You really need to discuss that with your doctor and the nurses looking after you.